Shabbat Shalom. The following audio was originally given to my congregation, and it was as a result of seeking the Father's face, reading His Word, and allowing Him to speak to my spirit. There are three scriptures that I mentioned that were highlighted in my heart. The first is Ezekiel 9. The second is Jeremiah 13, 1 through 11. And the third is Jeremiah 17, 5 through 14. Let him who has an ear hear what the Spirit is saying in these last days. Father put on my heart, He shared with me on this past Shabbat. The first one is Ezekiel chapter 9, the whole chapter. And the second is Jeremiah chapter 13, verses 1 through 11. Again, Jeremiah 13, 1 through 11. And the third is Jeremiah 17, 5 through 14. During that time, as I was praying and reading the Word, just seeking the Lord, seeking Adonai, He was showing me that in this season, during these 3 weeks of mourning, basically, we're mourning over the destruction of the temple. But what He's showing me is going forward. Before we can go forward, we have to take account of where we are. We have to take account and truly acknowledge what is on the inside, who we are in our flesh versus where we should be, where the Father has already placed us in heavenly places. So what He is showing me is in this season of the 3 weeks of mourning, He is dealing with and also judging pride and stubbornness. Specifically, He was showing me that there is trusting in man and his reforms. And I'm not going to get into too many specifics, but I believe we all know where we are. And I'll just make place for the Haruach, for the Holy Spirit to speak to each of our hearts as far as what that looks like to us, trusting in man and his reforms. He was sharing with me that you cannot serve both. You cannot serve the Father and what His kingdom business is about, and also trust in man and his reforms. Because the fact is that the Father's ways are higher than man's. And as people of the kingdom, we are supposed to be looking for the ancient paths, looking for the higher ways, not temporary reforms, because we know that the kingdoms of this world are crumbling at the very foundation, as it shows us in the scriptures. He is calling for us to trust only in Him and to make the Father our trust, to trust in Him and to make the Father our trust. He was saying that we will be sustained and watered. He searches the heart. He searches our core. He searches our motives. And He tries the kidneys, which are our emotions and our souls. And He gives us according to our ways, according to our fruit. So He is wanting each of us to take time out. We all have 24 hours in a day. And if we were to take just a small percentage of that time, concentrated, intentional time, towards the goal of being still before the Father and allowing Him to speak to us through His Word, then a lot will be accomplished. So Again, he is dealing with and judging pride and stubbornness in this hour. Just lay your soul bare before the Father, because he sees. And he tells us to judge ourselves so that we will not be judged. He's such a compassionate Elohim. He doesn't want to punish any of us. He is with us to show us he is a good God, and he wants to build us. He doesn't want us to be torn down and defaced. He does not want us trusting in man and in man's reforms. What we look at, we become. We are being changed into the image of the Son. So the fact that Yeshua is our husband, we have to look to him and make his business our business. Any wife, any true wife will tell you that if she is truly a man's wife, then she makes that man's vision and desires her occupation. Whatever he desires, whatever his vision is, in every sector of their life together, she is supposed to come alongside him and help make that a reality. So it is with us as the bride of Messiah, as the remnant. He is a jealous Elohim. He's compassionate and he's gentle beyond any of our understanding, but he is jealous. And he will not allow us to continue to praise and adore and look to any one person in this world. He wants us to look to him and trust him. So if we are seated in heavenly places and he is high and his ways are high, then that's where we need to keep our attention, in the high places, in the kingdom. Again, he's calling for us to trust only in him and to make him our trust, to trust only in him, truly, not just lip service, not just surface level, but to line ourselves up more and more as he shines the light on those pathways, and for us to not ignore the light that he's shining on our pathways, and to trust him and to make him our trust. He is our trust. He is our treasure. We look to no one except him for our provisions. We don't look to man for our provisions. He can use man, but we cannot look. We have to keep our focus on him. He says that we will be sustained and watered. And he's also reminded us that he searches the heart. He searches our core, our very motives. We can fool others. We can even fool ourselves, not saying that we're intentionally doing so, but who we really are, what we're truly about, we do bear the fruit of that. And the understanding that I gained from that is that he wants to take us higher. He wants to take us to that new level of lights, of being lights and of being salt in this earth, and to allow his glory to shine in us by how he is glorified in our lives. But we have to allow him, we have to submit and surrender ourselves to him totally. Because he is trying he sees, and he's also trying our deepest parts. He is trying, he's testing our emotions and our souls. He knows, but he wants us to see. And when these things begin to bubble to the surface, instead of us wallowing in it, he wants us to surrender or render, like you think in butter making, how, if anyone knows about butter making, there is the whey and then there's the fat, the butter fat. As the process of churning, the two are separated, and there is nothing wrong with the whey, but he wants us to render that separate from the fat, because it's the fat that we're after. So in essence, it's the fat, it's the meat, it's the source that in us that he is wanting to use to bring glory to himself. And then again, lastly, he will give us according to our ways, according to our fruit. So I won't rehash that again, but we know that the fruit is based on what we are doing to prepare for that particular harvest. Okay, the scriptures again are Ezekiel 9, Jeremiah 13, 1 through 11, and Jeremiah 17, 5 through 14.